video, and in this video I'm going to run you through some editing. So I went down to the beach for the second part of the Splash Sally shoot. We did some front and back shots, but then we also tried to get a little bit creative and just do some more lifestyle shots with Shanti, and that included just walking along the rock. I got her to walk, I got her to look away, and the main thing I want to show you is my editing and the editing process on how I get these colors and these tones and just create an image where the model pops to bring out the best story possible.
Actually, that's quite cool.
First of all, we're just going to run with this photo here. This is the final product of my edit. I got her to stand on the rocks, relax the shoulders, put the sarong over her shoulder, wear the bandana, have the sunnies on, and just look out. And I think that creates character. And it's quite a nice shot. And this is even shot middle of the day at 2 p.m. But that's okay. I didn't have a choice on what time we could shoot, so we just ran with when it was. So let's dive out, let's go settings, and then just reset all settings. This is the raw on what I'm working with, and this is shot on a Canon R5, and you can see it's 2 p.m. and on my 35mm ISO 100 f2 shutter is 1/3200th of a second. So initially I see this, I tried to go center compose. I just wanted to shoot this way because we're not shooting directly into the sun. We're shooting further back over into the horizon and into some blue skies that are not blown out. So first of all, try and figure out which way you want to shoot. Do you want to shoot backlit or into like an angle where the sun's not completely blowing out the sky? And that's what I was thinking, and that's what I wanted out of this shot. And that's okay to even have this heavy contrast and the sun coming over her there and her completely in the shadow. I mean, that's totally fine. It depends what you're after in the shoot. What I tend to do is dive straight into JB Film 1 as a base, and you can see that puts a nice teal into the sky, and I like the way it creates these blue hues in the sky initially. So that's before, that's after, without adjusting any JB Film 1 preset as a base. And you can see it's quite dark there. So we're just going to bring up the exposure a little bit. And when I'm exposing, I just want to expose for my model. I will shoot for my model. She's a little bit underexposed there, but I'm also taking into consideration just that light there. And you can adjust a lot of light in Lightroom anyway. I think it's a little bit too warm. So we're going to just dial that warmth back down a little bit. I bring that down 2 notches. The highlights, usually the highlights, I have it quite low because I don't want overexposed images. So I want to just bring those highlights down because I think lowering the highlights and lowering the whites look better. And then we're going to bring the blacks down a touch. Bringing the blacks down or pushing the contrast up creates shadows, which then turn creates depth. So be okay with having some shadows or some depth in there because shadows create contrast, contrast creates depth. It's fine. Don't overthink it. That's my thought process anyway. Let's go down to texture, clarity, and dehaze. I bring those down to about -8. I have my clarity at -10 and dehaze at -10. It just softens the images a little bit. Depending on what you're shooting on, I shoot on an R5. It's very, very sharp. And I'm okay with just bringing my dehaze down a little bit, soften the image. And then we'll go down to vibrance. I want to bring the vibrance up a little bit because I want it to be nice and colorful, but not overly saturated. So when I'm editing, I just try and bring up the colors, bring things into what looks natural, but I make a lot of subtle adjustments and don't go too over the top. So let's go before, after. Coming together nicely. We'll just do all the main edits. So we'll go Command 2, might just flatten out those shadows a little bit. Bring the highlights up ever so slightly just to make things a little bit crispier, pop a little bit. Could even bring the whole exposure of the image up a little bit. I'm going to crop her. Let's just pretend we're posting to Instagram. So we're going to go 4x5. I don't want to cut off her feet. I want the horizon to be straight. So we're just going to straighten that horizon there. And then I'm just going to allow a little bit of space at the bottom of her feet. And then I usually put a model, their head in the top third, and then just have their body in the middle there, in center composed. So that's coming together nicely. We're going to go Command 3. I'm going to dial this yellow down a little bit. I don't want it to be too yellow. Depending on what the skin's doing, orange is the skin tones. I usually bring that down a touch. I don't like overly saturated skin tones. And there's before, there's the after. So we're getting somewhere. Shadows, we got a bit of warmth in the shadows. I might just dial them back down a touch as well to +4. I'm going to go straight to grain. I feel like this is a little bit vintage, this shoot, so I'm going to sit at about 35 grain. I think 35 grain is a nice number. Let's go before. Well, let's bring this up a bit more. There we go. Enlarge this. That looks cool. It's coming together. I can see it vibrant and coming to life from what it was as a raw. See the raw, and then there's after. So once we get a pretty good base across the whole thing, I might just bring the warmth down a little bit. I'll then start to dial in to what I want to do with the subject and how I make the subject pop. And to make the subject pop, we then create masks. Masks that can isolate the subject or the model and bring out the shadows or the highlights or the clarity or whatever we're trying to do in that subject without changing anything around them or the background. So that's the best way to bring the viewer's eyes into the subject. Isolate the subject and create masks to then make them pop in the image. So let's go create masks. Let's go create subject, select subject. I'm going to go body lighten mask. And what that does, it lightens them up a little bit. So let's have a look at that. We'll go before. We'll go after. Very subtle. Very, very subtle. I try to edit in ways that is subtle. I don't want someone to go, oh, he's thrown a mask on that. I just want these small adjustments to make it seamless, to make it look like I've done it in camera as much as possible. And I think we should strive to do that and understand light the best we can, so then it looks like we've nailed it in camera. But realistically, we've got some little cheeky things that we can do in Lightroom to complement our image. So getting to know Lightroom, super important to create a really nice cohesive image. And that's pretty nice. I don't love having the shadows too much. Sit around 35. Yeah, I would even go back into the mask. Let's go mask 2. So what does it look like before? What does it look like after? Yeah, I'd even just up the shadows a couple more notches and whites a couple more notches and then run with that. That's nice. I'm liking the warmth. I'm liking the colors. We can go Command 3. What have we done? Have we got aqua in the sky? Like I want that blue to look nice and blue. If we really want to create some nice complementary colors here, what we can do is have her be a subtle warmth, and then we can have the water be a little bit more bluer. So you can see the blue. If we adjust highlights here, the water is in the highlights, so we can create that as a bit of a teal. So let's have a look at what happens here if we like drop that down. You can see straight away it creates a nice complementary color in the highlights, and the highlights being the water. So we can just adjust that slightly. That's with nothing. But then if we just go -2 to -4-ish, you can see that has just slightly created more blue and more coolness and aqua in the water. So now we're creating complementary colors. We're having the water in the sky a bit more bluer, and then we're having her staying warm because we want her to be warm. We don't really want to adjust the skin tones. And that's nice. And then in the shadows, if we want, we can go a bit crazy. And so let's go 100. We just don't want people to notice it. You can see you can go way too far and have it orange, or you can just ever so slightly keep skin tones around +4 in the shadows of this color grading. And now we are nicely adjusting the complementary colors. So just don't go too far with it. And if overall it is too far, just bring it back. And I still think we've got some room to move in the highlights in the background, as well as her. So that's cool. I reckon that's quite a nice photo. And I'm glad how I had the camera with the like at a good angle to have her shoulders and neck above the horizon. I like that. It just creates a clean image. And then also having some negative space around her head there, which is quite nice too. It creates more of a clean image. I would just about leave it there. I like this story. We've got her center composed. She's looking out. She's a character with the glasses on, the sarong, and the bandana overhead. In order to clean this photo up, make it seamless, make it clean, and tell a good story, I would like to remove these rocks behind her. Some say that is not photography, you should leave it. Others say, fair enough, clean it up. I think to really make it stand out and pop and become super clean, I would like these rocks removed. I'm going to run you through how I move the rocks, the options that you can do to move the rocks and what's best, so we can create really nice, clean images that tell a good story and essentially stand out, because we want our images to stand out from the crowd the best way possible whilst holding our style. Very, very basic. We want to grab our initial background layer, we want to bring it down, and I just do it into the plus there. So that creates another layer. So then we can work with it now. We have a secondary layer. In case we make a mistake, we've still got the original one. When I click that, we've got the original one there. Now, the best thing to do here is I'm just going to try straight off the bat, create a lasso tool, and I'm going to go around these rocks and I'm going to see what Photoshop does for us. That isolates it. I'm going to press right, I'm going to press fill, and then we can go content aware, normal mode, 100% opacity. Okay, let's see what that does. All right, it's a little bit shit. I'm going to run with it. So just for this example, let's look at before, let's look at after. You can see it's cleaned it up, but it's not really, we've got some weird things going on there. So other ways we can do this is bring this up and then just create some sort of adjustments there. See what that does. That actually looks better. We can go there. So this is a really good tool, spot healing brush tool. This just assumes what's there and it just kind of removes it. And luckily we're in water. It just kind of, it removes it from water, and you can see the water with the ripples and things like that help us to make it look a little bit out of focus and just like water. So I'll just go through and just delete some stuff there, and then if we want to go before and after on that side, I feel like that's super clean, but it'll come alive when we do the other side. So I'm going to grab this lasso tool again, and I'm going to do the same thing as what we did the other side. Go around these rocks. And this is just my style. This doesn't suit everyone. It's just what I look at doing to clean up my photos. Command D to deselect it. And that is pretty nice. That has done a good job. We're just going to get that away, move some of that. And if we really wanted to dive deep, we could sort of go into that. But you don't want those marks that mark up the image and make it look weird. That's done a pretty good job. I'm happy with that. Even that, like, you're not really going to look at that, I don't think. And if you think you are, just go through and drag some spot healing tools and the tool, and it will sort of clean things up like that. Okay. We could dive deeper and remove that rock, but I mean, that's all right. I just wanted the distraction in the background removed, so then I think, in my personal opinion, like, that's nicer, and I'm seeing more of her instead of this distractive rock from behind. Let's look at before, let's look at after. We'll bring this out again. We'll go before, after. Press F, bring it up. I don't know, I think that's cleaner. I think that's a lot cleaner. Before, after, cleans up the image, and now we have it. I think that's basically done. I would potentially, if you really wanted to go deeper, we could just dive into some rocks, into the cracks here. But I think that's a nice image. I think cleaning that up, that's edited. To me, just looking at that and looking at that from my computer here, I'll go 1 or 2 down on my light on my MacBook. I think that's a beautiful image. Center composed, is telling a story. I feel like it's relaxing. She's just like looking out down the coast to the beach. And I just think that's quite nice. So that is the process on how I edit with my JB Film 1 presets as a base. That's it for today's video, guys. I hope you've got something out of it. And also just think about bringing your images across into Photoshop, cleaning them up if you feel like it will help. It's all perspective. It's all so subjective. It's art. It's photography. Completely up to you. But that's just the way I edit, and it's my style to clean my images up, which is what I think helps my storytelling. If you want to buy my presets, I'll link them below. It's JB Film 1, which is my main preset that I use on every commercial shoot. It works really beautiful in like even in the middle of the day, and in blues it brings this nice teal to it, and I love it. So thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Watching you swerve to the concrete. Now I see your eyes in the horses, free like the sun in the morning. Now I feel your soul in the water, and I hear your song in the ocean. I know you wanna sing with the brothers. We all wanna show you we love you. Still feel the moment of thunder. Fell into my lover's arms. Now every time the sun hits my skin, I'm reminded why I'm here. I remember sitting in the backseat, watching you swerve to the concrete. Now I see your eyes in the horses, free like the sun